Hi, welcome to Supes On Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 5 of Supergirl, Crossfire. You can catch all our previous episodes at supesonpodcast.com and email us what you think at supesonpodcast@gmail.com. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremy Bruner, and joining me is my co-host, John McBride.
That would be me.
And these two amateur Superman experts are going to be talking about Crossfire.
Hey everyone, this is Supes On Podcast, and just to let you know right at the top of the show, there will be spoilers, not only for the most recent episode of Supergirl, but previous episodes of Supergirl and just about everything else.
That's right. We, I think we're going to go ahead and spoil the election this time. Just, really keep things fresh.
Linda Carter in real life wins the election.
Wins the election in a landslide.
Not the alien president on Supergirl on the CW, but the actress Linda Carter.
Who is actually the real life Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm with her.
So let's just get started. What would you think? What were some of the things that caught your eye this week?
This week on Supergirl, Crossfire. What really Crossfire. It reminds me of that game.
Yeah,
Crossfire.
the old game Crossfire.
I think, how can you sell that game to kids now? Just lose the ball bearings.
You're going to lose the ball bearings, but the music was so great. Crossfire!
That's why Crossfire. You did it. I expected maybe Wynn or somebody to be playing Crossfire. But
that would have been awesome.
But
Jeremy Jordan.
In this episode of Supergirl on the CW, I think what really stuck out to me is two things. Two things that continue to... This is one of the things we like about Supergirl, is that things make sense. I love it.
That's right.
For the most part. I haven't seen many things on this show that just like, why did that happen? Other than the fact of Max Lord, we had to just make up our own reason. Yeah. But because
he moved to Canada.
He moved to Canada. Flashpoint happened. He went to another Earth, whatever. So there's certain things. Like that's like the one glaring thing. But everything else has been fine.
Yeah.
And not only things just make sense logically, but for characters as well.
Yeah.
What they do and how they act. Like for this, like Alex is like, am I a lesbian? I don't know. She's not just... At first, I like a process of how I reacted to Alex's sort of courtship of Maggie Sawyer.
Yeah.
It was like, come on, you obviously like her, go and date her. But then I was like, she's having this weird, major life-changing revelation about herself. She's not just going to be like, oh yeah, I guess I'm gay. Anyway, let's go be lesbians. Da 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 da. And that's how I think lesbians act and say. But no, it's like, yeah, of course she's going to be really confused and awkward about this.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
I was wondering, and I don't know anything about this, but I was just wondering, I wonder how realistic that is for somebody to, like, I don't know how old she's supposed to be, but I feel like she's supposed to be in her late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden realize that, because it made it seem like she had never even thought that before.
Yeah, it made it seem like I don't know, you would think at this point she would have been like, I kind of like the way, girls look and stuff like that. I was gonna use Kara as an example. That got gross immediately.
It's not weird on Krypton.
It's not weird on Krypton. But she did go and say, like, I always just felt something was off, and I was so dedicated just to be what other people thought I was supposed to be.
Yeah, that is true. That is like the whole reason she became a soldier and became everything was all just like...
And, at first it seemed like, man, here we go. This is going to be such a trope. But this is such a breath. It's like James. A breath of fresh air is happening for these characters that were on thin ice about as far as like being kind of boring and useless.
Yeah.
Both of them in the same episode became way more interesting. Like on the other side of the coin, you have James, who it totally makes sense. Of course, he not only is it true to the source material of Jimmy Olsen always wanting to. I mean, he got powers. He wanted to be a superhero.
Yeah.
I didn't actually read I'm not a Jimmy Olsen expert. I'm a Superman expert.
I've read a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He normally accidentally stumbled into them.
I mean, does he just like want to be a superhero like Superman, or does he just want the fame?
It's not even necessarily both of that. In the old we're going back to the old spoilers for Silver Age Jimmy Olsen comics. But in most of those, when he got powers, Sometimes it was because he wanted to be like Superman, but it was never just for the fame. He always wanted to help people. However, it normally wasn't like he went out and sought powers or anything. It was more normally like, oh no, Jimmy ate that magic sandwich that was sitting on the counter. Jimmy, that wasn't a normal sandwich. Now you're going to be able to grow to the size of a giant.
Well, that makes sense here. And I like the whole, he picked up like a shield or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It looks like a
little metal
door.
grating.
It's like a metal, looks like maybe a door to like an armored truck or something.
Definitely leading us up to the Guardian stuff.
And I saw that and I was like, would it have been more exciting to see that and not have the announcement before that we know he's going to turn into Guardian?
Oh, for sure. It would have been much better for it to just have shown up. We live in an age where we know everything that's going to happen ahead of time, and it sort of ruins a lot of stuff.
So I'm like, part of me likes it because it didn't make me dismiss Jimmy. I'm like, okay, I know good things are coming for Jimmy or James, so I'm like, okay, fine. So I can hang in there and wait. But seeing this episode, I'm like, man, that would have been so much cooler.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I'm like, well, it's going to happen, so whatever. And I liked how he just goes to Win. Hey, Win, make me a costume.
Yeah, because Win, Jeremy Jordan, getting down with the costumes again.
I really want Win to make himself a costume at this point.
Oh, man. Just not even to go out to fight crime in, just to chill out in at the DEO. And I also love how Jimmy Olsen just walked into the DEO.
Again, the DEO is kind of just crap. I don't know if they're crappy.
I think they're really bad at their job. They need to really reassess what their organization's about, who they let in. Jimmy had never been to this particular branch of the DEO before.
That's right.
Remember, he's only ever been to that cave one, and even then he'd only gone like once, and they made a big deal about him being there as a reporter. Like, and then now he just walks in to go hang out with Win. And did you notice Win said, did you need your internet fixed? Does that mean he still technically works at Catco?
Maybe he does.
Was Jimmy just going there to say, hey, we got some IT stuff going down?
Maybe James is like, you haven't been reporting into work like ever since he started doing this. So yeah, it was really cool that James is very frustrated in his new position. He's like, I'm good friends with both Superman and Supergirl, and all these people are fighting crime, and I'm doing nothing.
And I did like the sort of the analogy of like, hey, Win, you found your place to how you can help.
Right.
And I also liked Win's thing about we fight people with information. That's what we do. Like, it is showing it's like, yeah, it's not just the heroes. The heroes are only as good as what they sort of know. I mean, as we discussed last week, Kara couldn't have beat that one alien if it hadn't been for Mon-El happening to know something.
And I noticed there was a trade-off because last week there was no James. This week, heavy on the James.
Yeah.
Light on the Hank Henshaw. He had like one scene.
Yeah, which is more than Jimmy had last week, right?
Yeah. Not a lot of Martian Manhunter. Just not enough not enough story for the cast. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed, but I was like, I really wanted to see where he was going to go with Miss Martian, but I was like, okay, let James have his episode, I guess.
I want to know why Hank Henshaw, like they sign off on, Kara essentially checking Mon-El out almost like taking, like she said the last week, like, hey, I volunteered to be responsible for you, like you're gonna come live with me. But then it looked like he was still living at the DEO and he just leaves to go to work. It was all, I want to have Hank Henshaw be mad about Mon-El just leaving before he's ready. Like literally a week ago, you breaking some dude's arm by accident, and now you're off like stuffing Miss Tessmacher in the broom closet.
Stuffing her? Well, I guess that's one way of putting it. In this episode, I really liked Mon-El. I think he became immediately like one of my new favorite characters. I was so happy with Mon-El, and I was also happy, like, I just really like, as like a Superman fan of the Super Family, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
To have Supergirl talk to Mon-El, get frustrated with Mon-El, and say thank Rao. I'm like, I just kind of geeked out at that. Like this.
That was very nice.
Very heavily a very super people thing to have happen in like one scene. I'm like, that was nice. If only she had like the bottles of Candor like on her desk or something, and just to have Streaky come by, that would have made my day.
So I really like this episode, but the one thing on the show I always try, and I'm normally not the one guilty of this. I'm normally the one always having to tell Jon, just pretend it's on a different world. Just know it's on a different world. When he gets frustrated about something not being like it is in the comics or in the source material, I'm the one that's always like, who cares? I am just having such a hard time getting behind this mon-el. So I love the Legion of Superheroes, and mon-el's big in that. Mon-el's one of my favorite characters. And he's just, this isn't the mon-el from the comics at all.
So mon-el was never basically frat boy guy?
No, he was, mon-el's always been very heroic, a heart of good. He's always literally basically been a Clark Kent clone for the most part. But without the Clark Kent part, he was just always mon-el. He didn't need to have a secret identity. He didn't need to do anything. He's always been a leader. He's always been extremely take charge. Like when mon-el's around, he's normally in charge.
Yeah.
And here he's just taking orders. He doesn't care about anything. Why would I want to go help people? That
would have been a different take if he was like all business type of mon-el.
And don't get me wrong, this works. I'm enjoying the show, but every single moment of mon-el, it just makes me be like, come on, this isn't mon-el.
He's come on, El. Come on, El. We still have no progress, and Kara just thinking like, I guess they have a Hasselhoff on Daxon too.
Yeah.
Oh well.
they did. Wynn and James did have the moment where they said, she wasn't into either of us.
Yes.
Surely she's not into him. Once again, throwing it all. The fans are sort of debating on who's going to get together first: Maggie and Alex, the Martians, or Kara and mon-el.
I think it's pretty. I would say the Martians have a pretty slim chance. As far as who is going to get shipped, what people are already shipping, I guess get together first.
By canon.
By in the season.
In the show.
The show. I'm going to say it's going to be Alex and Maggie first.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm pretty sure they're going to get together, but I don't see it ending well, not only because it's a television drama and they would purposely add some conflict there, but I'm thinking like if it's realistic, like her first gay relationship, what are the odds that would be like, that was it, soulmates?
Yeah.
She would learn more about herself and then move on.
And you know what they'll probably, this is just my guessing, if going off of tropes on certain other TV shows and things, is they'll probably have Alex not feel comfortable, not wanting to necessarily come out at first.
Yeah.
And that driving a wedge in the relationship. Like, just tell Kara, just tell...
Yeah,
whoever.
I'm expecting basically the Supergirl version of the Jack storyline from Dawson's Creek, where he really struggled coming out for a while.
Yeah.
And even after he did, he was still sort of like, I'm uncomfortable, kind of.
I don't know if it's going to be the Jack storyline from Dawson's Creek.
It could be like last season Jack, where he's like, I'm gay and I'm just getting after it.
I don't even think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be... I think the best Dawson character might... The best thing would be the Joey Pacey relationship, where they're starting, but neither of them want to talk about it to their friends, which then causes a wedge in the relationship because Pacey wanted to tell people and Joey didn't. I think it's going to be more along those lines. So we're going to use Dawson's Creek analogies for every relationship thing ever on this.
It could be like Pacey and Jess or whatever. It was like the F buddies, or am I just getting people's names wrong? Or
Pacey and Jen?
Jen. Jeez.
God, you know what? You're off the Dawson's Creek podcast.
No, I'm a Creek freak for life. I would say Jess. I don't know. Because I said Jess because, I don't know, she died. Spoilers. Again, we say spoilers for everything.
She died in Supernatural.
Did she?
Jess did.
Oh, Jess did. I was like, did what's-her-face appear in Supernatural?
You keep saying Jess, and you keep meaning Jen.
I meant Jensen Ackles. That's what I meant.
Jensen Ackles didn't die in Dawson's Creek.
Off screen in the novel I wrote. If you would read it for once. Anyway, back to the Supergirl episode on the CW. I liked, I was really hoping they would call the gang Intergang for no real reason other than I know what Intergang is and this is a gang. But I like that Cadmus is super, like, just being evil.
Yeah.
I like it. And
are they being evil or are they saving mankind?
Depends
from this
on
alien threat.
how you look at it.
I'll take their side. Go Cadmus.
Well,
Keep us safe
Keep us safe
by giving guns to criminals.
They have a really weird way of going about it. I like where Cadmus is coming from, but also it's like just don't give guns to criminals.
It's like, Cadmus, I agree with your thoughts and ideals, but your policies are I don't know if I can support it.
Arming known criminals. Yeah.
But to be fair, they had it under control, because when those criminals started to try to get dangerous to Cadmus took them out fast.
Now, here's the interesting thing. The lady who is in charge of Cadmus, does she have like just straight up mental powers, or was that like a device where she killed out the leader of the gang once he was taken to prison?
I think it was a device. Or it could lead into the whole thing that some people think Lena Luthor's an alien.
It's very possible, because
since we learned that the lady in charge of Cadmus is her mother, but is that her adopted mother, her real mother? Because if that's her real mother, that's Lex's mother.
Well, in this show, they can go any direction they want, I guess. They could say that's Lena's
birth mother
and not a Luthor.
Yeah.
Which I'm thinking this is what they're going to do.
Yeah, but so it could be that she's an alien.
When I very first saw it, though, I'm thinking, oh, Lex's mom. But then later I was like, not necessarily, I guess. So
yeah. And what did our poll say? What did people think? Because we did a survey on Twitter. We asked our fans. We asked, hey, what do you think? Is Lena Luthor an alien? Some people think she's an alien, or do you think Lena just knows about that Kara is Supergirl?
Right. If you follow our Twitter, it's at Supes On Podcasts on Twitter. And we tweeted out, what do you think Lena Luthor is up to? Let us know. We'll give you a shout out on the podcast. We had some votes here for she's actually an alien. That got 18%. So some people think she's an alien. For just other, 9%. So some people got some other theories. We'd like to hear your theories at soupsonpodcast@gmail.com. But in the lead at 73%, she suspects Kara. So leading theory here is that she is on to Kara.
Yeah.
And now I think that is all but confirmed, reinforced, encouraged, whatever, with her being in cahoots with not only her mom, but with Cadmus. So,
well, Lena wasn't shown to be in cahoots with Cadmus at all.
Well, she's involved.
How?
Her mom is in charge of Cadmus.
Yeah, but she also made it seem like her and her mom don't have a relationship at all.
Yeah, but she knows.
That her mom's in charge of Cadmus?
Yeah, but she knows stuff is going on.
What? How?
My
mom could be running a secret organization, and I talk to my mom every day, and I don't even know.
Well, this isn't how I wanted you to find out, but
no. My mom's joined the Crips, hasn't she?
She's joining the Crips, and you were a blood from birth.
Dang it!
No. So I think it's possible Lena doesn't know everything, but I don't know.
I think Lena suspects Kara, but I don't think Lena knows her mom's involved with Cadmus.
I'm going to go on the assume train here and assume that Lena knows at least enough that she knows more than we think. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, she knows more. I think she suspects Kara, but I think she doesn't know anything. I think when she finds out about her mom, it's going to blow her mind.
And once she finds out that Jeremiah is secretly in charge of everything, then we all still hope that Dean Cain comes back.
Yeah, so do you want to know the theory behind that? Or so here's crazy theory time.
All right.
So possible spoilers if this turns out to be true. A lot of people are talking about, they think that Jeremiah Danvers is going to come back as the head of Cadmus, that he's actually going to come back as Cyborg Superman.
Really?
That's how he's going to be revealed coming back.
That would be interesting, because they threw us for a loop with the Hank Henshaw originally.
Right.
And that wouldn't be too much of a stretch considering the origin story of Martian Manhunter in this particular version. So,
yeah.
Man, I think that would be really awesome, because Cyborg Superman in the comics is actually a pretty cool villain.
He is, and it'd be interesting to see Clark or Dean Cain. I'm sorry, I can't think of this. It'd be interesting to see Clark in
I
this Superman
still
suit.
see Vandal Savage every time I see Dean Cain from Smallville.
I'm all about the new adventures of Superman.
Lois and Clark.
The new adventures of Superman.
The nude adventures of Superman.
But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see that. We're sort of not talking about this episode too much. We both really liked it. I like the guns. I thought some of them were pretty cool. I love the car getting flung out into space and cars saving that policeman. But why didn't she just stop the car? Like, why did she just get the guy out?
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to go straight into efficient use of powers or not, but there was towards the, I forget it. I was going to say towards the end, but I forget which part of the episode. But I think it was when the gang first appears. Actually, towards the beginning, when the gang first appears, so like she's like, guns won't work on me, or regular bullets won't work on me, and the guy's like, I'm glad we didn't bring any. That was another example of Supergirl being like Superman and having to present herself and say something cool before, like you have said earlier on this podcast in previous episodes, just grab the gun. Don't say anything. Just grab the gun.
And it continues even in the like final fight scene. Like she keeps trying to use her heat vision to like fight against the beams. You don't have to do that. You have super speed. Just go grab the gun and break it.
I think she did that, or at least tried to do that, like at least once. But for the most part in this episode, I'm like, this is not the smartest way.
No, I feel like she just
people.
Was charging in like head first essentially, when instead of using her brain.
And I'm watching these fights, and it was like in the Fight Club episode in Survivors last week, where it's like it shouldn't have come to this.
No,
you should be smarter with your powers. And I'm easily willing to believe it. Hey, it's season 2.
Yeah,
she just got her powers. She hasn't had them for all that long. She's made some improvements, but she still has a long way to go.
Yeah.
I would be so fine with that, and that's happening, but I don't feel that it's part of the story. Like, nobody's really acknowledging this.
No.
This is just, like, a dramatic fight scene, and it is.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, shouldn't someone bring up the fact, well, Supergirl, we have to be smarter about this? Like, no, that's not happening.
Right.
I really want John Jones to be like, you have a lot more to learn, young lady. And I can't do, like, a David Harewood voice. But.
So you're talking about Hank Henshaw made me think of the bar, and I'm just wondering, I feel like the bars we keep seeing Maggie at, like, I feel like those are all the same. Maggie and Alex are little scenes. I feel like that's all the alien bar. They're not in the alien bar. It's supposed to be just regular bars, but it's like very obviously the same set, just at slightly different angles.
I thought it was supposed to be the alien bar.
If it is, they're not really showing aliens in it.
I thought they kind of just know, and that's the alien bar they just go through anyway.
Maybe.
I
thought it was supposed to be just like a regular bar.
I thought the fact that they showed that and it was so clearly the alien bar set, like, okay, they just go to that bar. I feel if they want to establish it as an alien bar, they need to show one alien every time they do it. Maybe Maggie's an alien. We don't know. Maybe all lesbians are aliens.
Renee Montoya, we're coming after you next.
Coming after you.
So let's go into the powers used real quick. So we had flight. We had super speed.
A little bit of super strength. Not like strength. She didn't lift up a building or anything, but she did have some.
We had invulnerability.
X-ray vision. Very briefly, she used X-ray vision. She saw Lena Luthor through the door.
Yeah.
That was like a blink and you miss it type of deal.
Yeah, that is true. When her and Alex were talking.
No freeze breath.
Unfortunately.
I mean, when that car started to freeze up and it was being flung up into the atmosphere, I was like, maybe she did that for no reason, just because it's cool.
This is cool. Get it? Cool. Freeze breath.
Yeah, maybe. Other than that, not a lot of. I keep on wanting telescopic vision to happen because why not? You have these cool powers, use them.
Right. For efficiency, I think we already went into it. Everything was used pretty efficiently, except for in the fight scene, she should have disarmed them quicker.
And she came so close at like one point, but then they've just for the rest of it like whatever.
And I feel like with both Supergirl and like on the Flash, I feel like they always go and like stop in front of the villain. Like you don't have to do that. Like just go in and disarm them and then go stand in front of them and be like, hey, I just disarmed you.
The thing is that moment can still happen.
Yeah.
It's not like you're saying, well, it's TV. It has to be presented in a dramatic, entertaining way. Like, no, you can still do that. Mm-hmm. You're just being dumb.
Sort of, yeah, because, I mean, there's multiple of them. So, I mean, I don't know, it depends. We haven't really established how fast Kara is, but in the crossover last season, she was keeping up with Barry for the most part. She wasn't as fast as Barry, but she was keeping up with him.
And keeping up with Barry is pretty GD fast.
Yeah, like, she ought to be able to go disarm them.
Like, maybe she can't time travel, but she can still move faster than a speeding bullet. I mean, she can probably, at this point, move faster than an impulse in someone's brain.
Right.
At this point, to even, like, before...
They can even pull the trigger.
Yeah, before their brain sends the message to the trigger finger to pull the trigger, she can move faster than that.
And they wouldn't even be pulling the trigger if she wasn't stopping to show she was there.
Yeah. So, it's a long way to go learning, but it's not part of the story.
Overall, pretty efficient, though.
Yeah, I would say so.
We have to point out the Jeremy Jordan scene at the end. He saves the day. Him and Lena.
Yeah.
Teaming up beneath the stage. This is slowly going to turn into just a Jeremy Jordan fan podcast.
It really is. And I started to ship a little bit of Wen and Lena.
Wen and Lena, I could see them getting together.
Weena, maybe?
Wen's heart would get broken eventually.
Yeah, it wouldn't last for Wen. I don't know. I figure Wen is one of these just perennial heartbroken guys, unfortunately.
He's going to be the Chloe
of
the show.
Unfortunately.
That never finds their true love because it's...
Maybe like on Smallville, how Chloe fell in love with the Green Arrow. Wen can fall in love with the Green Arrow. And it can be... Oliver just says like, I finally found my true love.
Not even giving him Artemis.
Nah, it's all Wen.
So Wen saved the day at the end there with Lena. Lena... pulling the wool over Supergirl's eyes, not telling her she had a plan.
Yeah, and I did enjoy, there's a few really funny things in this episode I liked a lot, like mon-el when he's like, hey, I'm Mike Matthews, my social security number is this.
This is a fan bonus for you guys. I still have somewhere a recording of me and John the first time we started to think about doing a podcast, and it was going to be on Lois and Clark, the new Superman, and the podcast starts off with John like, what are we supposed to do? And I was like, I don't know. He's like, should we introduce ourselves? He's like, I am John McBride, and my social security number.
That's right. I blew my cover that I'm really a Daxamite right then and there.
That's right.
And we love to party.
So, what did you? So you're gonna go and move on to Supes On?
Well, we didn't really have much of a fact or stat.
Oh, that's true.
I just read, it was more like I learned something. I learned that vortex breath is a power. That's my fact or stat that I learned today.
Yeah, and that's a power that mon-el sometimes has, depending on the iteration that he's in. So it's essentially ice breath.
It's kind of cool. It's vortex breath,
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't really have a factor stat. I tried to look up the overnights for the ratings since we're recording this the next day instead of the same night. But I couldn't really find them. I'm guessing apparently today's the election. I guess people are too busy concerned with the election to start talk about Supergirl's ratings last night.
And that's the problem with America. They should be focused on Supergirl's rating on the CW.
That's right.
That's what we're recording this at the time where we don't know any results or anything like this. So
no.
We can't spoil the presidential election.
I know. We were lying earlier when we said it might be spoiled. But Linda Carter hasn't actually won.
She hasn't actually won.
Yet.
Not yet. As far as whether this was Supes On or Supes Off.
So what is that, John?
If it's Supes On or Supes Off, basically what that means is, did this change your mind about Supergirl, the character, if you weren't already a fan? Or did it sort of just reinforce and encourage you already not liking her, disliking Supergirl? Did it hurt or help her in all aspects of her character, mainly?
And was she her own character, or was she just come off as a clone of Superman?
Is she her own character? And this has already been challenged a little bit because she became a reporter. Just like Clark.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, she's doing for the most part okay, but stuff like that is happening. Let's see. Do you want to go on Supes On? Or?
Sure. I am giving this one Supes On. So I'm coming off of a 2-episode Supes Off streak to switching back to Supes On now. I feel that this one was Supes On because I felt like it really helped capture, because there was a lot more Kara in this episode than Supergirl.
Yeah.
And I always feel like that helps the show a lot because it helps show her as a person, not just this person who's always out there trying to do good. She struggles. It showed that she struggled with how to deal with Mon-El. She realized I'm not ever going to be able to make him how I want him to be, and just sort of accepting that. I feel like it helped show that she struggles with things, and I think that that's interesting. I think if you were somebody who didn't really like it, you just always think of the Boy Scout or the Girl Scout, you would watch this and be like, hey, they're a normal person. She came off as a normal person that has powers.
I would say Supes On for all the same reasons, but I think it's only barely. Because I think this episode, maybe because I'm a little biased, but I think it's more mon-el's on. Because I think Mon-el gained a lot of new fans with this episode. But for Kara, Supes On, but I think a lot of the other characters were really doing a lot of improvements as well. Like, it was James on, it was Alex on.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were really on. But as far as Kara specifically, yeah, she really, she made some strides here in solidifying her own character here. So now, do you want to do a quick CW recap?
Sure, quick CW recap. So last week's shows. So on the Flash we had H.R. Wells.
H.R. Wells continuing to be such a fun. He had to win me over, but he continued to be such a fun character.
And I love the monster. Like, I wish it had been a real monster, because we haven't. That's such a comic book trope to have like a weird, sort of monster come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I wish it had been real and not a projection, but I still loved it. The fact that they even acknowledged, hey, monsters exist in comics.
Right. That was a lot of fun.
Arrow, super strong.
Arrow continues to be. I know we do a whole podcast about Supergirl, but I think Arrow is the strongest show out of the Arrowverse shows on the CW. Legends of Tomorrow, such a fun episode.
Zombie Confederates, I
really feel this should have been the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Only because of zombies.
And I also, I told John earlier, I read a comment that somebody made on Reddit that they feel like Legends of Tomorrow is like somebody heard somebody say, man, I like all these characters. I just kind of want to see them hanging out. And I would watch that show. I feel like Legends of Tomorrow is that show.
Yeah, and we were discussing off mic. We just want to watch Legends of Tomorrow, doing exactly that, hanging out, living together.
Yeah, like that's basically the show is just them hanging out and occasionally finding themselves stranded in various parts of time.
I don't even need a villain, a Legion of Doom.
No, we don't. Like, I honestly feel like Legends of Tomorrow suffers the most when it concentrates on its main plot. Whenever it is just these little throwaway episodes, they are so much fun and so good.
Yeah, I could deal with that. I could deal with filler episodes. I don't even need a Freak of the Week. I just need.
So John feels Arrow's the strongest show this season. I've been feeling Legends of Tomorrow is, with the exception of the Justice Society episode, which I felt was a little bit weak. But once again, it was concentrating on its plot there. But I felt that Legends of Tomorrow, it's just been so much fun. It's what I've enjoyed the most. It may not be the strongest show, but it's been the most enjoyable to me.
Now, saying that, I did say I think Arrow is the strongest season overall for this current season. But as far as like my CW pick of the week, excluding Supergirl, because we just had a whole episode about it.
Right.
I think of basically those three shows, my CW pick of the week would be, I gotta say, The Flash. I had the most fun watching The Flash.
Flash was probably my pick of the week for this past week as well.
So we automatically assume Supergirl's the show you're gonna watch, but if for some reason you're gonna undecided about what other CW show you're gonna watch, I don't know why you would be.
Realistically, if you're listening to this podcast, you watched them all.
So as far as like the best one, I'm gonna go with The Flash, excluding Supergirl, of course.
Yeah. So I don't know for the best one. So best, I'd probably go with Arrow. For best. Most fun, I'd go with Flash.
Maybe Supernatural, even though that's not really on the list.
If we throw in Supernatural, it's a whole other thing. We love us our Supernatural.
Love us some Sam and Dean.
But all right, well, please contact us. Let us know what you think at soupsonpodcast@gmail.com or at soupsonpodcast for Twitter.
At Supes On Podcast for Instagram as well. Look us up on Facebook, Supes On Podcast.
Yeah.
We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Spreaker. We're on YouTube. Just about everywhere you can find internet, that's where we're going to be. So get on after it. Send us some emails. Send us some tweets. Let us know what's up.
And join us next week for Season 2, Episode 6. Thanks, everybody. Hi, welcome to Supes On Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 5 of Supergirl, Crossfire. You can catch all our previous episodes at supesonpodcast.com and email us what you think at supesonpodcast@gmail.com. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremy Bruner, and joining me is my co-host, John McBride.
That would be me.
And these two amateur Superman experts are going to be talking about Crossfire.
Hey everyone, this is Supes On Podcast, and just to let you know right at the top of the show, there will be spoilers, not only for the most recent episode of Supergirl, but previous episodes of Supergirl and just about everything else.
That's right. We, you know what, I think we're going to go ahead and spoil the election this time. Just,
Yeah.
really keep things fresh.
Linda Carter in real life wins the election.